Live text access training for real-time intralingual subtitlers. Unit 5 Respeaking Introduction.
Introduction to Respeaking.
This video lecture has been created by SSML and Velotype.
Hello and welcome to this unit. I am Carlo Eugeni, lecturer in audiovisual translation, chairman of the scientific committee of the International Federation for Information and Communication Processing, Intersteno, and president of the Italian Association of Respeakers on Air as real-time parliamentary subtitler at the Rome Capitol. This introduction is aimed at introducing you with some of the topics that we're going to deal with in different elements that compose this unit. This is the agenda. I will first define respeaking, then we will have a look into the product and processes of respeaking, and finally I will introduce the skills of the respeaker.
Section 1 Definition.
As you may already know, respeaking is a technique by which it is possible to produce real-time intralingual subtitles, as we call them. While I'm sure you have already seen live subtitles in your life or here in the different training materials of the LTA project, you may not know the details of the product and the processes. So let's start by defining respeaking. Respeaking is the production of real-time intralingual subtitles by means of a software which transcribes a simultaneous repetition, reformulation, or translation of a speech as dictated by the operator, called respeaker, to the computer. In other words, the respeaker listens to the speaker and simultaneously repeats, reformulates, or translates live what the speaker says. This input is sent to a special software and turned into written words. That is why it is called respeaking or speaking a second time. This old video shows how respeaking was and is still done in practice.
Is expected to ground flights, shut down schools. This is the 7th general strike that Greece has had in the past year, and it has been 12 months of austerity.
Section 2 The products of respeaking.
Respeaking can be used to produce TV subtitles, conference subtitles or speech-to-text interpreting, parliamentary subtitles, and personalized access to any type of speech event. This is an example of TV live subtitling.
Es deutet einiges darauf hin, dass sich keinen Gefallen getan hat mit seinem Vorschlag und das in doppelter Hinsicht. Zum einen wirkt jetzt in der Runde der Mitglieder der Ministerpräsidentenkonferenz wie derjenige, der die eigenen guten Vorsätze vergessen hat, nämlich vor allem den Vorsatz, nur noch gut vorbereitet in die Sitzungen reinzugehen. Dafür wäre die Zeit jetzt reichlich knapp, wenn man seinen Brücken-Lockdown-Vorschlag noch ausarbeiten wollte. Und noch viel schlimmer sieht es aus, wenn es seinen Führungsanspruch in der Union geht, denn Armin Laschet ist eben nicht ein Ministerpräsident unter vielen.
This is an example of conference subtitling, also called speech-to-text interpreting.
Our project is an Erasmus co-funded project. It started in September 2018 and will be running until August 21. And we have 3 main goals. The first one is to create learning materials to train fellow typists and speakers in bilingual real-time subtitling. And we're going to provide a modular curriculum. And the third goal of the project is actually to make the profession more visible and foster the recognition of the profession itself.
This is an example of parliamentary subtitling, not to be confused with parliamentary reporting, which is the transcript of what is said by MPs for a future access.
Buongiorno e ben trovati. Saluto la la sindaca di Roma, Virginia Raggi, saluto l'Assemblea Capitolina, che ringrazio, nel gruppo di maggioranza, nei gruppi di opposizione, per l'unanime e mutua collaborazione che c'è stata nell'organizzazione di questo straordinario evento, di cui sono fiero ed orgoglioso. Saluto la famiglia di Ennio Morricone, che ringrazio, l'avvocato Assumma, gli ospiti, congiunti, amici che sono presenti. Saluto e ringrazio l'orchestra dell'Accademia Nazionale Santa Cecilia. Saluto la stampa che ritorna quest'oggi in aula dopo qualche tempo che era mancata dall'aula Giulio Cesare, è un piacere di avervi. Volevo fare un ringraziamento particolare nei confronti della famiglia, chiaramente in questi giorni abbiamo cercato di avere tutti quanti una dovuta e doverosa accortezza, ma c'è stato davvero un moto da parte di tutte le forze politiche, potrei dire, anzi assolutamente è stato così, unanime nel fare questo evento, e vi ringraziamo davvero di essere qui. È un piacere e un onore, evento che ci è sembrato un atto indispensabile, necessario.
This is an example of personal access to daily events. In this case, two hard of hearing participants attend a meeting thanks to a live transcript.
Completely free run, because we're going to set some deadlines, and these deadlines are deadlines. And what I mean by hard deadlines is there is no time left for moving these deadlines. We know how to do it. We have committed to deliver the materials in the next 6 months, more or less. And of course, you can organize this as you want. You can.
This is another example of personalized everyday access to a daily event. In this case, an Italian deaf student is attending an English class. The teacher speaks English and Italian alternatively.
Section 3. The process of respeaking.
One other thing that you may not know is that there are different types of approaches and workflows involving respeaking that we will see along the module. In TV subtitling, the whole process between the speaker speaking and the audience reading the subtitles consists of 9 steps, as you can see from this table. In particular, the first step is the speaker speaking, which is not that banal as it may seem, because depending on who speaks the source text and how, several approaches depend. Then, the audio text is broadcast. Step 2. Here again, broadcasting has an influence on the final product, because depending on when and where the video to be subtitled is broadcast, subtitles will be more or less delayed. We will see this later in the module. The third step is the speaker listening to the video to subtitle and trying to understand what the speaker says. The fourth step is the speaker repeating, reformulating, or translating what the speaker has said by dictating a repetition, reformulation, or translation to a fantastic software called ASR, or Automatic Speech Recognition. Step 5, ASR, stands for Automatic Speech Recognition, and the fifth step consists in the engine processing the spoken words of the speaker. Sixth step, the spoken words of the speaker are turned into written words as subtitles. Step 7, these written words are then monitored by the same speaker or a second professional called live editor who checks the quality of the subtitles, basically by spotting possible mistakes and deciding if these mistakes are relevant or not. Eighth step, these mistakes are considered relevant or not. If they are considered relevant, they are corrected. Step number 9, the subtitles are finally sent on air and the audience can read them with a delay that ranges between 2 to 10 seconds depending on the workflow. To facilitate its understanding, we have divided these 9 steps into 3 groups, which we will call texts. The first 3 steps can be grouped together and referred to as the source text. The second 3 steps can be grouped together and referred to as the mid text. The last 3 steps can be grouped together and referred to as the target text.
Section 4. The skills of the re-speaker.
As you have seen, a re-speaker has to do many things at the same time. In this slide, I sum up the 4 main macro areas systematizing the skills a re-speaker has to possess. A re-speaker has to possess psychocognitive skills, metalinguistic skills, dictation skills, and editing skills. In this unit, we will deal with all these skills.
Summary.
I hope this first video lecture on re-speaking was a good start. We have seen what re-speaking is and some of the products and the process of real-time intralingual subtitling through re-speaking. Finally, I have also introduced, though briefly, the skills of the re-speaker, which will be dealt with into more details in the 5 elements of this unit. See you soon.
LTA, Live Text Access, Universitat Autónoma de Barcelona, SDI, Internationale Hochschule, Scuola Superiore per Mediatori Linguistici, ZDF Digital, European Federation of Hard of Hearing People FHO, Velotype, Subti Access, European Certification and Qualification Association ECQA. Co-funded by the Erasmus Plus program of the European Union. Erasmus Plus project 2018-1-DE01-KA203-004218. The information and views set on this presentation are those of the authors and do not necessarily reflect the official opinion of the European Union. Neither the European Union institutions and bodies, nor any person acting on their behalf, may be held responsible for the use which may be made of the information contained here.